Well, the Royals have marked Easter Sunday with a traditional service at St George's Chapel. The Queen was unable to attend, with the 95-year-old cutting back on her commitments.
But that didn't stop thousands of fans filling the streets to catch a glimpse of the younger royals. Sunrise Royal Editor Rob Jobson joins us now. Morning to you. Do we know why the Queen missed the service?
Well, it's all to do with her mobility now. That's the problem. It's not that she's ill, it's not that she's sick or infirm in any way. She just can't do the movement. She can't, walk really very far. And also, if she's sitting down, she tends to sort of seize up. A lot of people in there, she's 96 in a few days' time, so it shouldn't be a great surprise to us that she's having to cancel these engagements. So there's going to be a switch in the policy, really, of the palace going forward. They're going to say, we're only going to announce that the Queen's going on the day. We're not going to say that she's cancelling events. And they just assume that the Prince of Wales will step in, although he wasn't at the Easter service. That was led by Prince William and his family.
Harry and Meghan, Jobbo as well, they missed the service, but they have been putting on quite the display at the Invictus Games. How's that been going down?
Yeah, well, they were never really expected to be at the Easter service, but the Invictus Games, which I'm a huge fan of, I mean, who can't really be, for what it does for those guys and girls that have served us all so well in the armed forces. It's been a great success again. I mean, he's been back to his old self. He's been joining in with all the events, as Meghan, and they've been speaking about the importance of continuing to support the armed forces and those that have been injured with the Games. And also, he's been speaking also about how he wants to make the world a more equal place, which is, it's all very positive stuff. The story that's come out tonight is that there was a big row about his security, when he appears to have hired a former Secret Service agent who used to work for President Obama, a guy called Chris Sanchez. So that seems to have been resolved as well.
OK, so then over the weekend, there was, of course, the story that Harry and Meghan met with the Queen. How did that go down? Is there a truce? Did they meet with Charles? And did they do it with Netflix in tow?
One at a time, I suppose. But first of all, it was Harry's instigation that they met. It was a brief meeting, firstly with Charles. I think the Queen was insistent, really, that they both met Charles, i.e. Meghan and Harry. Camilla was there at that meeting too. My understanding is they were a bit late, which meant they had to cut it short to around about 15-20 minutes because Charles and Camilla had to fill in for the Queen at the Maunday service, so they didn't get long to chat. And I suppose in a way, I don't know how it went because there were no members of staff there. There were no aides there. It was purely family. So only unless people are actually flies on the wall, they're going to know what was actually said. But you can imagine it was baby steps to start with. And a bit later on, a few hours later, they met with the Queen, both of Meghan and Harry as well, which I'm sure would have been a probably less tense affair.
Well, hopefully we'll see a full royal reunion.
And no, Netflix weren't in tow. I think they were certainly in tow in Holland at the Invictus Games, but they weren't in tow in the UK. And funny, what's really interesting is they got in and out of the UK without any photographs being taken of them at all. So it obviously was quite a closely guarded secret.
Yeah, that security's working very well. Jobbo, thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure. Thanks.